Hello guys, welcome back TFD. Like and subscribe for daily updates. Let's break this down. I've been sitting with this for a while, and honestly, the more I think about it, the more it just doesn't add up when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the way things have been handled. You've probably heard me bring this up before, but it needs to be said again, because it's ridiculous. Caitlin Clark has been dealing with a real injury. This isn't some minor thing you can just brush off. We're talking about a groin issue. And anyone who knows sports knows how tricky that is. You can feel fine one moment, then tweak it the next, and suddenly it lingers. It doesn't just go away, it sticks with you. And yet, what has she been doing all season long? Playing through it, traveling, making appearances, pushing herself. Game after game after game. We've all seen it. And instead of managing her the right way, instead of making sure she's fully healthy, they've just let this cycle keep spinning. Now, is it great that Caitlin takes time to connect with young fans, like when she met Ari McDonald's AAU team in Golden State? Of course, it's amazing, and it shows who she is as a person. But let's be real here. Why is she even in Golden State right now? The Fever have played 40 games. She's played in just 13. Think about that. She's clearly not at 100%, and yet she's everywhere, doing everything, instead of getting the recovery and protection she needs. That's the bigger problem. And honestly, that's why I'm saying this. It's a serious, serious issue. Because if you want Caitlin Clark to have a long career, if you want the Fever to build around her, you don't run her into the ground during year one. And yet, that's exactly what's happening. And it makes zero sense. So, here we go again. I think this was last night, maybe the night before, but either way, Stephanie White comes out and says that Chloe Bibby hasn't had a setback. No. She just says Bibby's left knee swelled up from all the traveling. And because of that, she can't play. Hold on a second, time out. That is a setback. Let's call it what it is. And Stephanie White, if you're going to sit there with a straight face and say, "Oh, her knee swelled up, but it's not a setback," then I don't know what to tell you. That's either lying or being flat out clueless. She was cleared to play, then her knee swells up, and she can't go. That's not business as usual. That's a setback. Now, I'm not trying to be harsh here for the sake of being harsh, but come on. Are we really supposed to believe this doublespeak? Are we really supposed to trust what you're saying when the reality is staring us in the face? It's insulting to fans, it's insulting to players, and it's insulting to anyone with an ounce of common sense. And here's the kicker. You even said it yourself, the traveling caused swelling. So let me ask you this. Why in the world is Caitlin Clark, who has been dealing with her own injury issues, out here traveling nonstop? Why is she being paraded around from city to city, signing autographs, making appearances, doing everything except sitting down and letting her body heal? Because here's the truth. When you've got an injury that needs rehab, you can't treat it like it's nothing. Sure, if you break a bone and it's in a cast, fine, you can travel. You're not rehabbing it until the cast comes off. But with a soft tissue injury? With something that needs constant attention, constant rehab? Traveling should be the last thing on the list. And yet, here we are. Caitlin Clark has missed almost the entire season, and instead of prioritizing her long-term health, they've got her on this endless travel circuit. That is beyond reckless. That's negligence. And no one should be surprised if this drags on longer than it ever needed to, because the way they've managed it so far has been a complete disaster. But let's be real here. The Indiana Fever knows exactly what they've got with Caitlin Clark. The WNBA knows exactly what they've got with Caitlin Clark. They don't like admitting it, but they know it. And that's why they've been dragging her around like some kind of showpiece, like a mascot, just to dangle her in front of fans. It's not about her health. It's not about protecting their superstar for the long haul. It's about making sure people show up, buy tickets, and tune in. Because if they can't guarantee Caitlin Clark is playing, they can at least guarantee Caitlin Clark is seen. Put her courtside, get her on camera, show her signing autographs. Boom. You've got your story for the night. It's basically the WNBA's version of Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game. The league doesn't even care if the basketball is unwatchable, as long as the broadcast can cut to Caitlin Clark sitting on the bench, smiling, waving, or clapping. That's their selling point, and they're doing it at the expense of her body. Think about how insane that is. She's dealing with a groin injury, a tricky, sensitive injury, and yet she's still traveling to every arena. What happens if she gets bumped into by accident? What happens if someone falls into her lap while she's sitting courtside? I mean, just the other night, a ball came flying her way, and she had to jump up quickly just to avoid getting run over. That's exactly the kind of movement she shouldn't be doing with this injury. It makes zero sense. Absolutely none. There's no competitive reason for Caitlin Clark to be traveling. There's no medical reason. The only reason is marketing. The Fever and the WNBA are milking her presence, using her as bait to fill seats and keep eyeballs on the games. And the worst part, every single time she takes that risk, every single time she's treated like a prop instead of a player, she's one step closer to making the injury worse. This isn't about Caitlin Clark's recovery. This is about exploiting Caitlin Clark's name, face, and popularity to cover up the fact that the Fever can't win and the league can't sell tickets without her. And again, we're talking about the groin here. It's one of the trickiest injuries an athlete can have. You mess that thing up bad enough, you completely tear it, and Caitlin Clark may never play basketball again. Or maybe she comes back, but she's never the same player. And that's the nightmare scenario that nobody seems to be protecting her from. Caitlin Clark, are you listening? I hope you are. Wake up. I'm not saying this to come down on you. I get it. I get why you want to be out there with your team. I get why you want to sign autographs for fans. I get why you feel this responsibility to grow the WNBA. You've embraced that role more than anybody else in this league ever has. And honestly, that's admirable. With great power comes great responsibility, and Caitlin Clark has absolutely taken that on her shoulders. But here's the problem. You don't have anybody in your inner circle stepping in and saying, "Hey, enough is enough." That's what frustrates me. That's what scares me. Whereas the person who says, "You've got a tricky injury. You need rest. You need recovery. You don't need to be on every flight and in every arena." Look, Nike has already shown how they treat you. Your agent? Don't get me started there. These are people who should be protecting Caitlin Clark the athlete, Caitlin Clark the person, not just Caitlin Clark the brand. Somebody close to her should have already said, "Stay home. Go to the home games if you want, sure, but skip the road trips. Rehab, recover, get healthy." Because right now, there's no reward for Caitlin Clark to be traveling with this team. None. The only thing that comes with this is risk. And the more she puts herself in these unnecessary situations, the greater that risk becomes. And for the Indiana Fever to keep pushing Caitlin Clark into situations that put her health at risk? Man, that's a joke. Even if she wants to travel, even if she says she's ready, the responsibility falls on the organization to step in and say, "No, this is not smart. You need to prioritize your rehab. You need to stay home, recover, and sleep in your own bed. We need to eliminate unnecessary travel and the risks that come with it." Because let's be real here, if she's injured, she shouldn't even be sitting courtside on that bench. You've got players diving, falling, running full speed. It only takes one bad moment, and she's back on the shelf for months. She should be sitting safely back in the second or third row. That's just common sense. But apparently, common sense isn't something the Fever organization is too familiar with. And I'll be honest, the more I think about this, the angrier I get. It's pathetic. The decision-making here is reckless, it's careless, and honestly, people making these calls should be held accountable. Fired. Immediately. Because this isn't just about one season. It's about the long-term health and career of Caitlin Clark, the most important player the WNBA has right now. Look, injuries happen. That part you can't control. But the way the Fever and the league have managed the injury? 100% preventable. They've failed in every possible way. You've got to control what's in your control. I tell young athletes that all the time. Control your effort. Control your focus. Control your decision-making. But what do we see from the Fever and the WNBA? Zero control. Zero foresight. Zero care. And here's the ugly truth. They don't really care about Caitlin Clark. If they did, they'd be protecting her. They'd be making smart long-term decisions. Instead, it's short-sighted garbage, all about squeezing as much as they can out of her right now, regardless of the consequences. But I'll stop before I go off on another half-hour rant. Let me know what you think in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.